Hey, Eastern Oregon, welcome to this June 23rd version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad you're here.
Morning.
Hey, how's it going, man?
First Friday.
Yeah,
We're almost there.
I know it.
There's not really much going on this weekend sports-wise, but we do have Beer Fest.
Yeah,
Johnny's coming down tomorrow, and
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since he officially moved. So he was taking weekend excursions back here to hang out with his cats, and and then when he officially moved, I haven't seen him since then.
No, he's kind of been at it.
Yeah, he's a big city boy now.
Yeah,
he don't want nothing to do with us.
Yeah,
he's big time with me.
We'll have to give him a hard time about that.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I give him a hard time about it every day.
Yeah,
every time I talk to him, I'm like,
you're
not allowed to come back here anymore. Yeah. Like, you need to come visit me in Boise. I said, I'm not from Boise. I didn't live in Boise. Like, I have no reason to go there. Like, you do have a reason to come here. You have family and friends. So, him and Sherry are going to come tomorrow. I got to work tomorrow night, so I probably won't see him tomorrow, but definitely Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I'm assuming that I'll be doing some designated driving and some babysitting.
Yeah.
It's just
and while I'm thinking about it, be sure and take some pictures when you go out.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll bring my camera.
Because it'll be good.
I've never really taken a lot of pictures of anything other than sports, so it's awkward for me. Like when I was at that awards thing, I wasn't planning on taking pictures.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to take pictures, and it was like I was out of my element.
Yeah.
I'm used to being, there's lots of action.
Well,
people are watching that instead of I don't want them to watch me.
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of stick out a little.
Yeah. When they're playing sports, they don't want to. They're doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'll take pictures. But
no, I love those candid pictures of events or whatever it is, because. Yeah, I mean, I like the sniping aspect of it, getting away, and it is, and it's just because you get people they're just relaxed and they're just candid photos.
Yeah, like nice. for the state championship and when Eastern does their senior days, and LeGrand does their senior days, I very rarely tell them to look at me.
Yeah,
they will. I mean,
if you're posing a photo.
Yeah, but most of the time it's I just kind of let the EOU photographers do the look at me, and I kind of get off to the side or try to catch a moment where they're super unexpected.
Yeah,
that's fun for me. Yeah. And people appreciate those kind of pictures too.
Yeah,
because the expected ones it's expected. You know what I mean? The ones where people are, like mom's hugging the daughter on senior day, and it's like, whoa, that's way more emotional and way more powerful to me.
I stopped.
I'll get some good pictures of Johnny on Saturday.
Good. I stopped by the store on the way in to the office today, and the cash register, the gal. Anyhow, she said, "Well, hey, I really appreciate." I mean, she clearly watches our stuff. Really appreciate what you guys do. I watch your stuff all the time. I find that you guys are the fastest at getting some of the information out. We'll take that compliment.
Some people actually watch it.
Yeah, we don't hear that. Yeah. I told her, I said, well, hey, we appreciate the information. We'll take
morning,
it.
TJ.
Yeah.
Good morning. As everybody can tell, we're in a different setup now. We're in studio. We're not at our desks anymore, which is kind of cool. It's weird. It's different.
Well, it is. And you and I were talking right before the thing on national TV, people will be in the same room having a conversation and they'll look at the camera. And so then
it's so hard.
It is, but it's not very, So it's funky because sometimes we'll be looking right at the camera. Sometimes we're going to be looking.
But we're always talking to you. Just so you guys know. I mean, well, most of the time, unless I'm going off on a tangent, I'm talking to either him or whoever will listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to do a sports thing?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick today, so let's fire it off. So for sports, I want to tell this story first. So I'm working on pre-production for East West Shrine because we're a little over a month away, and I have a lot of stuff that I got to get done. A lot of it's contacting people, getting interviews in place. Well, I've been trying to get former Scappoose, Oregon State NFL quarterback Derek Anderson. I tried to get him last year, kind of fell through. I never got in contact with him. This year I've sent out emails, this, that, phone calls, and then finally yesterday I'm like, I wonder if I tweeted him if he'd like actually get back to me this time. I tweeted him, and like 15 minutes later, an email from his phone. Hey, he goes, I don't remember exactly what it said, but the gist of the story is he was selected to play in the game, but Oregon State didn't let him play in it. He had to go to Corvallis and start prepping for his freshman year at Oregon State. And so he didn't even actually end up playing in the game. So all that work didn't get me that interview, but it'll get me an interview down the road. I plan on interviewing that guy one day.
So remind us again where he played.
Scappoose, Oregon State, and in the NFL.
Played
for a bunch of different teams.
Did he?
Yeah.
And how long? How many?
13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he was Cam Newton's backup in Carolina for like 4 years, and he only played. Cam Newton was so durable at the time that Derek Anderson, I think he only played 4 games.
Wow.
And won 2 of the 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a journeyman backup, and that's a great job in the NFL. We know, Johnny and I have talked with Kellen Clemens, same class as Derek Anderson, but Kellen's from Burns, I believe, and played at Oregon.
Okay.
Well, he was Phillip Rivers' backup in San Diego. Phillip Rivers did not miss a lot of games. Well, the year that San Diego moved to LA, Phillip Rivers and Kellen Clemens were neighbors.
Yeah.
Well, Phillip Rivers said, we're not moving. He bought this van and got it all tricked out, TV screens, and they would ride from San Diego to LA for practice and watch game film and study film on the way to practice, just the two of them.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, like you're there with a Hall of Fame quarterback. So being a backup quarterback is not bad. I think these guys probably make almost $1 million a year, maybe 2.
Well, and you're not getting beat up as much.
You get beat up a little bit,
but
not.
Not.
Yeah, you're not the practice squad quarterback that's just getting hammered around.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be like, it's got to be almost the equivalent of being like, I want to say like the 12th man in basketball. The 12th man has front row seats to 82 games a year. Doesn't have to play, just practices really. And I mean, plays every once in a great while like a backup quarterback, but still gets all the clout from being in the NBA.
So I'm ignorant. What's the 12th man in basketball?
The last guy.
There's
12 guys. Yeah.
There's 12.
So there's a depth chart. You got your starting 5, and then 6 through 12 are the bench guys.
Okay.
Well, the 12th man is like,
he's not going to play much.
Right.
Unless something really,
which is different in football. The 12th man in football is the fans.
Right.
Yeah.
You hear that term.
But the 12th man in basketball is like the guy that
he
gets all the perks of being in the NBA, but doesn't really.
It's like
most people don't even know who the 12th man on teams are.
It's like the bat boy, only you have a position.
Yeah, well, and you get paid a lot more.
Right.
Boy, and if you go to the club, you're not the bat boy; you're a player.
No, I know, but the point is you don't have a lot to do, but you're there all the time.
But they have the same expectations in practice.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So I mean, in practice is just as important to the games. I mean, like especially for these guys, like they to compete at the level that they compete at, you have. I mean. Takes lots of work. I mean, I can't even imagine how many hours these guys put into their craft. One other thing, that baseball series this weekend, I didn't know it, but I just found out last night that Devin Bell was also selected. So Cole Jorgensen was MVP of the entire series. Devin Bell was selected as most outstanding player on the South team. So the LeGrand kids swept the awards. I mean, they got the best player on their team, and then the MVP for the whole series. So, which, I mean, they pretty much swept everything this year. They had player of the year. They had 3 first-team All-States, coach of the year, state championship. They didn't lose a game in Oregon this year. They only lost 1 game. Yeah, I'm excited for football, though. It's like it's time. Like, I'm going to show a quick video. I don't have any audio for it, but this is
Todd Gorham said that he reffed a couple of Derek Anderson's games.
Oh, TJ, by the way, the only team to beat LeGrand in baseball was the #1 team out of Colorado, and they beat them in Arizona over spring break. That was LeGrand's only loss all year. Yeah. Yep. Seahawks or Boise State is what TJ's saying about 12th man. All right, so let me show this video. This is a video. I'm getting jacked up about the Shrine Game. So this is like a 1-minute video of practice last year. The problem is there's no music for it. So I guess I can just kind of talk, or we can just watch it. We'll see how it goes. So I'm unmuted right now.
Yep.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Benny and I spent the whole entire week leading up to the game up at EOU. These kids, they come in on Monday, and they practice Monday through Friday, and then they play the game on a Saturday. This year it'll be August 6th. And Benny, man, we both had cameras. I was taking stills. Benny had the GoPro on a gimbal, and we hit practice. It was really hot too. I mean, it was probably 100 degrees right now, and we're just out there, hanging out with these kids and filming them, and just, that's why I enjoy the East-West Shrine Game so much, because I get to know these kids, and it's so awesome. Like they all have a different story. Some of them aren't even going to play football in college, which is crazy, but it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to it. August 6th is when that'll be, and there'll be a lot of stuff coming out on EOA Live and on the East-West Shrine Game Facebook page and website over the next month, so be prepared.
That's good stuff. That's good footage.
That was Benny.
Yeah, I know.
That was Benny rocking it. I think I was taking stills that day, and I had Benny on the GoPro, and Benny, he killed it that whole week. I mean, we went over, what'd we go over? Benny and I went over on Friday, and we did like interviews with, I think Benny did the Queen's lunch. We did interviews. I hung out with Shriners. I took a bunch of pictures of Shriners, and then Benny took his editing computer and was just, a workhorse that whole week. And yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
All right. Well, it's a pretty day out there.
Yes, it is. It looks like golfing weather.
It really does.
I couldn't even golf right now if I wanted to. I don't know if my allergies are so, like, I'm so congested. Like, I probably couldn't even walk half of a course.
Well, I know I couldn't walk.
Well, you got a bum wheel.
I got a bum wheel.
You could ride a cart.
Yeah. Oh, well, here, let's see what Gabe has for us.
Heading into the day on Thursday, much of us up towards the north will be tapping out into the 70s, where we're going to see a little bit more of those scattered high clouds here and there. Otherwise, completely sunny towards the far south, warming into the 80s out that way. Heading into the day on Thursday for LeGrand, it does look like this will start out into the lower 60s. At 9 o'clock, abundantly clear, but then we'll start to see some of those cirrus clouds filter in early to mid-afternoon before we clear out again for the evening, as northwesterly winds will be blowing all day, although only up to 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts in spots. Heading into my short-term forecast for the Grand Ronde Valley, tracking high of about 73 for Thursday, dropping into the upper 40s overnight. Carbon copy on Friday.
It's like, what, 8 degrees cooler today than yesterday.
That's good.
I like it.
You like the hot, yeah.
But I like to be out in the hot, but I also like to have the AC just cranked in the house. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do know.
I don't take it to like the extent.
Yeah.
TJ, that would be cool. Yeah. If you need some help getting in contact with people about coaching, I can help you with that. Me personally, I used to coach. I don't find a lot of joy in coaching. I love kids. I love being around them. I don't like the parents. I don't like the politics. I don't like the stuff that goes along with coaching, other than the actual coaching aspect.
Yeah. Well, it's complicated. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
It's not simple.
Especially in small towns.
Yeah.
Like, small towns is like, and that's the only places I've ever really coached.
Yeah.
It's tough. I remember Mike Mallory always tells this story, and I'll tell you guys that when I first moved here, I think I was 13. Yeah, well, I was 12, but it was the summer before my 8th grade year. So I was playing 13-year-old Babe Ruth. And I was on this certain team, and they'd play me 2 innings a game out in right field, and I'd hit one. I'd have one at bat a game. Well, in California, I was the best player in my age group, and a lot more kids than there was here. Well, I got here, and I was like bummed out after that season. I was like, man, I might not play baseball anymore. This sucks. Like, I don't want to play 2 innings a game in right field. And I get this phone call, and it's Mike Mallory. He'd coached against me, and he's like, I picked you for the all-star team. He was like, here's when practice starts. I'm like, what? We'll come to find out. And he tells this story. He went through like all the stats.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was looking at your stats, and every game you were like 1 for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for 1, 1 for 2. And he goes, I showed up at the all-star voting, and he asked if you could nominate somebody that wasn't on your team for the all-star team. And the lady looked up the rules, and she said, there's no rules against it. And I nominated you, and then I picked you. And the cool thing is that like got me back interested in baseball, because that summer I played on the all-star team. I pitched. If I wasn't pitching, I was playing first. I hit 3rd or 5th, and I did really well. And it was like, that's almost what you have to do as a new person coming into a small town, because you get pigeonholed. Like, right. I got pigeonholed into right field when I was one of the best players out there. You know what I mean? It's like, right. It's crazy. Small town sports are weird. And if it wasn't for people like Mike Mallory, I might not have ever played baseball.
Yeah. No, I get that. I totally understand that.
It's weird, man. It's just kind of how, I don't know. People get it in their head. Like, there's this picture I've seen numerous times online, and it shows like all the positions in baseball, and it shows like, like the dandelion picker, and then it's the coach's son's always on the pitcher's mound. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's kind of like that when you're young.
Well, but it's like that. I mean, I was in My Fair Lady in 2016 at the Elgin Opera House, and I mean, I haven't been in a musical since I was in college, and I probably would not have gotten that role had it not been that I was friends with the director. Not that I got the role because I was friends, but the point is you're exactly. I mean, if you're new to a group of people, they don't know your abilities. You're just going to be put in some role.
Pigeonholed.
You're going to be pigeonholed.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So that was really, I mean, that was kind of a really unique thing for me. It's like, something like that in sports is very similar. It takes so much time and so much dedication that if it's not if it's not a significant enough role in my particular case or whatever, you're not going to invest in it. You're not going to, I mean, it's not worth the time that you take. Right. So I don't know. It sounds a little bit, I don't know. I wouldn't say entitled. There's a little bit of entitlement in there. But
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And that's small town sports.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, like,
right.
You could go watch a game right now, and I could tell you which kid's the coach's kid from like about 12 down.
Yeah. But that is kind of, I mean, you see those videos of like Jewel walking into a karaoke bar, where it's like there's this culture of people who sing karaoke, and it's like, oh, that they're an outsider. We don't know who they are. And, I mean, and so those situations exist all the time where if they don't know you, they don't know your talent, they won't even give you a shot. So.
And in that same year, I played soccer. I only played soccer 1 year.
Yeah.
My whole life. And I was terrible, and my dad was the coach. And I didn't play very much. I was terrible at soccer.
So I coached soccer 1 year.
Yeah.
And what was sad is that I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about soccer, but it was like, somebody's got to coach. And all right, are you willing? Like, well, I was willing. I wasn't very good, but I was willing.
Yeah. Well, the reason why the teams like the baseball team, for instance, are winning state championships is because these parents were invested in these kids at a young age, and they've been together since they were, like 8 years old, 9 years old.
Wow.
And so it's like, we talk about thanking the coaches, the head coaches, but you got to think about like all the parents, and the money invested and people that coached them when they were younger. That's just as important, if not more important. I mean, I was here. I heard some baseball parents talking about like how much they thought they've spent, like combined as a team on this baseball team that's won a state championship this year, between traveling gear, everything, and everybody estimated like right around 1.5 million.
Wow. Holy smokes.
But these kids travel they're everywhere. They're in Arizona. You got kids playing on team baseball Northwest. You have them playing on teams in other states during the summer. You know what I mean? Like it's a big deal, and it takes money to do that.
Yeah.
You played with a kid in Cove. Played a kid who played sports in Cove with my kid. Football, basketball, track with the last name Mallory. Yeah, that's Kevin's kid, TJ. So that would be Mike's son's kid. That would be Mike's grandkid that played out in Cove. Yeah, they go to Cove. Jackson and what's the little one's name? I'm horrible with names. I should totally know his name. Gosh, I feel bad now. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, let's run this beer fest commercial real quick. We'll be right back, guys.
Hey everybody, it's that time of the year again. It's the Eastern Oregon Beer Festival, and we are back.
Did somebody say Beard Fest?
No, gentlemen, I said Beer Festival, and it's June 25th at the Union County Fairgrounds.
Beard Fest? That would be cool.
I said Eastern Oregon Beer Festival, and it's June 25th at the Union County Fairgrounds. It runs from 1 to 7 p.m., and we've still got those exclusive VIP tickets available. It's going to let you hobnob and schmooze with some of the brewers the night before and get you into the gates an hour early the day of the festival.
Is there going to be a beard competition?
I sure hope so.
That's what I heard.
Whose idea was this? Get your tickets now at eobeerfest.org, and we'll see you June 25th at the Union County Fairgrounds.
Yeah, I guess this is what I do with my beard. Or I do this in the shower.
I bet I'd win that beard competition.
Hey guys, would this thing qualify for the Beard Fest?
Yeah!
Yes!
We're back.
We are. My laptop was about ready to run out of battery.
Got it.
And that's what's feeding the show. So
I get one game for Beer Fest, or I game for Beer Fest.
yeah. Well, what else is going on, man?
No, I think we should ask, like, hey, so anybody watching right now, give us a topic to talk about. I want to hear. Good morning, Caleb. I didn't even see you popped on there. I heard you're going to be out of town this weekend. I was talking with Johnny last night. We were hoping that you could join us for Beer Fest. Who goes out of town on the weekend of Beer Fest? Like,
Well, there's
especially
another,
a beer dude.
there's another event going on. Yeah, I mean, we tried to get Caleb involved in helping us with the Beer Fest, and he had some kind of a commitment going on.
Yeah, he's going out of town.
Yeah.
So until somebody says something, I can tell you some corny jokes.
All right. Give it to us.
Why'd the bike fall over?
The bot
The
fly.
bike. Why'd the bike fall over?
Why?
It was too tired.
Oh, brother. You haven't had any dad jokes. in a
I know,
while.
because there's not a lot of dad jokes, BC, that aren't just horrible. You have a wedding? You're getting married?
Yeah. It's, I mean, that is part of people delayed weddings and activities and all of that stuff
all
because of
jammed in
COVID.
now.
And now it's like, yeah, I mean,
I hate being in weddings.
do you?
I hate going to weddings too. I hate going to funerals too. I was at Wade's wedding, Wade 12.
Yeah, yeah.
It was 105 degrees. I almost died.
I think you guys, and you
it
were
was
wearing,
horrible.
yeah, you were all dressed up. No.
No. I had on shorts and a nice shirt,
Yeah.
but I was in a wedding in Portland, in between Portland and Salem, at
Yeah.
some really nice ritzy place.
Yeah,
And it was 100 degrees, and I was in a black tuxedo.
that's the worst.
Ooh. No, and there was no, I mean, they had like groomsmen and bridesmaid rooms and
Yeah.
air conditioning in there, but the actual wedding part was outside, and it was absolutely miserable. miserable. Any programs for kids this summer? Good question. I'll talk to our news director Alex, and I'll make sure that that's added into the news roundup, and you can just pay attention right here on EOA Live, and it'll pop out.
But I would advise calling the Parks Department. I mean, they've got a lot going on, and if they don't,
oh, I know one thing. On July 25th, they're trying to take a bus full of kids over to the Pendleton Water Park, and I think it leaves at like noon and comes back at 6, and it's $20, and that includes the ticket, the transportation, and as long as the kid's over 7, a babysitter. I mean, basically,
yeah.
And I mean, Stu's got a good thing going there. I'm sure they're all background. I mean, it's legit.
Yeah.
I mean, they aren't going to be putting your kid in with some creepo.
You know, he's a tremendous asset for this city, man. Stu Spence. I was like, yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, I was like, you're not going to leave, are you? You know, I mean,
No.
because he could, I mean, don't listen to this dude, but he could get a job probably anywhere doing, you know, I mean, he's just extremely.
Is that thing, or is that the?
What are
you
we
hear
listening
that?
to? There's music.
I don't know what it is. Sounds like something's about to blow. TJ, your wife was at Wade's wedding. Ask her how hot it was. It was so hot that you won't forget it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was hot. It was like, I think it was either Cove or Union. It was on a hillside at a winery, and it was just blazing hot. But it was wonderful. I mean, I got to see one of my good friends get married.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge fan.
Which we are going to have a show this Monday night.
This Monday night at 5:30.
Monday noon at 5:30. Yeah.
I'm shooting for Cody Bowen 5:30 on Wednesday next week. I need to touch base with him again just to make sure. He's kind of a busy dude, but it's summertime, so he doesn't have to coach right now.
He's not doing. Yeah.
So we should. I mean, it should be sometime. Caleb says Stu is awesome with what he does at Parks and Rec. Yeah, he is. You should see him. Yeah, TJ. It was extremely hot. Like it was, It was hot. It was like one of those ones where you're like, oh, and back then I still drink beer. There wasn't any beer.
Yeah.
But I was like, I cannot wait until I can like get a nice cold beer.
Well, and the thing about, I mean, Stu could get a job at Parks and Recs anywhere, but what happens is once you're the manager of a big department like that, the next step is that you're a city manager somewhere. So that's why it's like, no, don't go anywhere, man. We need you to just stay where you are. Yeah. So
I don't know how that side of like city government works. I've never been really interested in it.
Yeah. No, the city manager is kind of like, that's the primo job. Yeah. But if you're good at administration, which Stu is, then you can pretty much manage.
I think you'd be a good mascot for like a football team. You could just dress them up in.
Okay, yeah. So I got to tell you a funny story. So Stu's wife Margaret was in My Fair Lady with me. Okay, and she was one of the dancers, and that's how I got to know Margaret, and that's eventually how I got to know Stu. Well, so you're not, when you're at the Elgin or any theater or whatever, you're not supposed to take flash pictures, and flash pictures don't make any difference. I mean, if you're more than 15 feet, well, like if you're using a phone, if you're more than 5 feet away from something, the light on the phone is not going to make any difference at all. Anyhow, well, so Stu is up in the balcony with his phone taking pictures during the performance, and especially at the very end, this curtain call that everybody's coming out and you could see his thing flashing, and so Margaret's like, what asshole is up there taking those? I mean, this is what she said. I wondered what asshole was up in the balcony taking pictures. And then it's like, oh, that's my asshole.
You're like, oh yeah, there he is taking some pictures.
Yeah, so they're. I mean, they are equally as entertaining, the two of them. So
Stu at football games is wild.
Yeah,
wild. I'm super excited about football once again. Like it for me. Not only do we have Shrine Game, but that moves right into LHS and EOU, and it's just back to the fun part, of because the summertime, like it kind of slows down after Shrine Game for about a week or two, and then after spring there's like a week where it's a little bit slow, but I'm already back. I'm already into Shrine Game mode right now. Like I'm firing off emails, trying to get in touch with people, trying to get some sponsors. So that's another thing. The advertising on Shrine Game is fantastic. It reaches a lot of people. It's great for local businesses, especially businesses that have any kind of affiliation or really any in this town, because we have a player from LeGrand that's playing in the Shrine Game, and a lot of people in LeGrand are going to be watching it. So if you have any questions about advertising opportunities for Shrine Game, email me, kyle@eolive.tv, and we'll set up a time where we can talk, and we'll get you the advertising packages for that game. It's quite a bit different than just advertising with us or sponsoring one of our shows. So yeah, get a hold of me.
And it's a huge reach. I mean,
Huge
that's a
reach.
huge, yeah.
The whole state.
And it's a
Plus.
it's a great value.
Yep,
So,
no doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt. And it's just one of those things that where it's just being tied to a local player, and especially a player like that's in this game. I mean, he's valedictorian. He's first team All-State in baseball. He won the MVP of the 4A series, Cole Jorgensen, and he's just been he's very much worth investing in. Not only him, but in LeGrand athletics as well. And it shows that you support that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. And the Shriners alone is worth investing
right.
in. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
No, there is just a ton of really good benefits there. And I mean, it's a great organization. It's a compassionate, giving organization. Yeah. So, and that's why these guys work so hard at it. I mean, we're the Shriners themselves. They're picking the players, doing all of that stuff to actually pull the game together. There's just a humongous amount of stuff, but they do it because they're raising funds for Shrine Hospital, which is an awesome thing.
Right. TJ asked if I think LeGrand will be competitive this coming football season. I'll be frank and honest. I think probably a top 5 team, but not in a state championship next year. I want them to be, but I just don't see. I don't see where we can keep up with some of the teams, the Gladstones next year. I think we'll win the GOL, hands down.
Well, and Pendleton though is going to be in. Right?
Yeah, I think we can beat Pendleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can. I mean, Pendleton's going to be good though, and that's what. So I don't know if Pendleton is in the GOL for football yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they've made that decision because they had a separate group of people looking at that. Pendleton is dropping down to the GOL, which is weird because when I played, and still today, Pendleton's still way bigger than us, like over 100 kids at the school,
at the
bigger.
High school itself. Yeah.
And we used to play in the same league as them, and when we played in the IMC, which we were the smallest. Us and Hermiston were the 2 smallest 4A schools in the state, and 4A was the top level. So for us to compete sports-wise, I mean, and back then you couldn't recruit. You couldn't bring kids in from other towns to play. Now, as long as you can find a way to get to school, you can go to any school as long as they have room for you. Back then you couldn't do that. So for us, Bud, no, we don't have a young QB. We have a senior, Logan Williams, same quarterback as last year. But for us, like competition wise back then was like kind of tiered because I mean, our league had 4 Central Oregon schools that were big, Pendleton, Hermiston, and LeGrand. So like Hermiston and LeGrand were like the teeny guys, and then Pendleton was a little bit above us, when it came to how many kids went to the school, what you're drawing from, and then those 4 Central Oregon schools had 1,000 plus each.
Wow!
So it's tough. The quarterback situation, Bud, Logan will be coming back. I mean, he was good last year. So I mean, I don't see any. I think our biggest issue is probably going to be offensive line, which is usually for every team. Same thing for EOU, and running back. Running back's going to be kind of up in the air for us because our senior running back, who was offensive player of the year, is gone now.
Offensive line, just because big guys don't show up, or yeah.
That, and it's just really hard to find a good offensive lineman.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, they're not a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? And the teams that do really well usually have really good offensive lines.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that was EOU's big struggle last year. Was their offensive line? Our offensive line up there was just, it didn't hold its own, and that's why early in the season we were good, and then we just kind of tanked off because our offensive line. I mean, Kai Quinn was getting sacked, and granted, he made some errors too. I mean, he made some bad decisions, but the offensive line did not help him out.
Wow.
So yes, LeGrand, I think we'll probably win the GOL. Top 5 probably, but as for a state title next year, I think it's a little bit out of reach. And not that I'm saying I'm not, cheering for it. I'll be talking smack right there on the feed. Like I'm gonna say we're the best, of course, but at the same time, like if I want to like look at it from like realistic guys, it's a little bit of a reach for us next year. Yeah.
All righty. Well, you want to get us out here?
Sure. Let's go. What is today? June 23rd. On this day, 1868, Christopher Latham Scholes received a patent for an invention. What was it, BC? What did Christopher Latham Scholes invent?
In
1868.
Christopher Scholes.
Yep.
1868. Patent.
I think it was called a Scholes, the first one.
Scholes.
Mm-hmm. Typewriter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Typewriter, 1868.
I wouldn't have got that one.
1931, on this day, Wiley Post and his navigator, Harold Gaddy, took off for a round-the-world flight in a single-engine airplane. Do you remember what that airplane was called?
No.
The Winnie Mae. From Roosevelt Field in New York, they arrived back at Roosevelt Field on July 1st, completing the trip with a record time of 8 days, 15 hours, and 51 minutes. And it was the first time a single-engine plane completely flew around the world.
In what year?
1931.
That's crazy. I mean,
Single-engine plane.
Less than 30 years after
the very
first flight.
Yeah, they're already flying around the world in 8 days.
Yeah, that's craziness.
1992, on this day, the head of the New York Gambino Mafia family, crime boss John Gotti, was sentenced to life in prison. Do you remember his nickname? I don't have it on here, but I know it.
No.
The Teflon Don.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then they made that movie with Ray Liotta, who just recently passed away, called Sammy the Bull.
Yeah.
And Sammy the Bull was the one that flipped on John Gotti and got him and testified against him.
Right.
Yeah. That was what that whole movie was about.
Huh.
I like mafia stuff. 2003, Apple Computer Incorporated unveiled the new Power Mac desktop computer. Power Macs, 2003, so 19 years ago.
Wow.
Time, the worst part about time going by so fast? We're getting older and older, man. It's scary. I was telling somebody a story about, like, I think we talked about it on here, but like the discs you got in the mail for AOL.
Yeah.
Which like nowadays, if you gave a kid a disc and told them, they wouldn't even be able to do it.
No, and it's
they
funny.
wouldn't have any idea how to do it.
And we still, we still convert people's media or we'll produce something and a lot of our older clientele that is wanting us to make a DVD or want us to make, they're like, well, will you make 10 copies of this? I want to give them to my family. It's like, well, how old are your family members? Oh, they're in their 20s and 30s. Well, you really want to give them a thumb drive. They're not going to know what to do with a disc.
Okay, so I gave Cole Jorgensen's mom, Brenna, a bunch of pictures of him to make like this book.
Yeah. And
she told me, she's like, oh, you're going to give me like you can't just put it on the cloud. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I was like, I know how to put it on a thumb drive
Yeah.
and here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I have no clue.
Yeah. That is funny.
Yeah. She's
The
like,
cloud.
well, what am I supposed to do with this ancient technology? And I'm like, you stick it in the computer.
That's
2017 on this day in Los Angeles, California, the Wilshire Grand Center opened, and it's the tallest building west of the Mississippi, and it's 1,100 feet tall.
wow.
I'd never go to the top of that building. Never. No way.
Have you ever been in a tall building anywhere?
The Luxor.
Oh,
I went up at the Luxor, but I didn't look outside.
now is the Luxor?
It's that pyramid looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like heights, BC. Like,
I know you don't, yeah.
I'm not a fan. No way. No. Okay, so the number one movie in America 30 years ago on this day. You want to try to guess, BC, or no?
30 years ago.
30 years ago, 1992.
92.
On this day.
I don't have anything.
Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. Look how young
You're not a
William
Star Trek
Shatner
fan,
is.
though, are you?
No,
I was going to
I
say.
don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I know, beam me up, Scotty. That's about it. And then the quote for the day is from Victor Hugo. The greatest happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved for ourselves, or rather, loved in spite of ourselves. So one more time. The greatest happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved for ourselves, or rather, loved in spite of ourselves. Boom.
Good stuff.
That's all we got.
All right.
We'll be
So
back Tuesday.
we'll be back Tuesday. Wade and I will have a EO Talks live on Monday night, 5:30.
5:30.
And then we'll be right back here Tuesday morning.
I'll take some video of the beer fest too, so we
Yeah.
can show that.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Tuesday.
no.
I'll take
Well,
the
I mean-
little camera and my.
Well, and we just never, I mean, I'm selfish there because we never have enough Beer Fest is a Main Street event,
Yeah.
and we never have enough of anything. It's like, did anybody take any video? Like,
I'll do that this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. So,
Wasteland Kings. I'll be at that, so I'll take some video of that too. I'll just take a bunch of video.
all righty.
See you Tuesday.
Thank you, guys.